Hey, it's Paul. Welcome back to B&B Talk. I'm going to jump right into things. I need you first to do me a favor. I love how the subscription base is growing, so please subscribe for me. Just hit that button. First thing we see Quinn, and she's pleading with Carter. Now, she tells him she really needs Ivy here for work. She tells him that he's got to go over to Liam's and gives him a dress and says that he's got to marry them. Now, obviously, Carter's suspicious about this, so he wants to know what she's up to. And she tells him, Ridge isn't my biggest fan. I just got back to work here. I need the money. Ivy and I work really well together. And he says, although I believe that part of it, I know you're up to something. And once again, she gets her way because Carter leaves with the wedding dress to go marry these guys. We also see Wyatt, and he's talking to Steffy. Now, this is a common theme here. Everybody keeps saying, Ivy's not going anywhere. Ivy's here to stay. And that's what Wyatt tells Steffy. And he says to her, with him, she doesn't have to compete for his attention. So Steffy tells him that there's something with proximity when she's around Liam. It brings them closer. And he wants to know, obviously, where that leaves Ivy. And curiously, Steffy says, back in Australia. Why does everyone keep talking about this? That she's here to stay, and why does Steffy say that leaves her back in Australia? Makes you wonder if Steffy had anything to do with the deportation. Someone else also said to me that it could have been Bill. So give me your thoughts on what you think, whether it was Steffy, whether it was Bill, or whether it was just an anomaly. It's never that simple. The other thing we see is Caroline, and she's with Ridge, and she's going through this healing process, and it's nice how she's step by step bringing Ridge into what happened to her. Now, she shows him her x-rays, and they're really bad. They're on her ankle, and it shows, pins and screws and whatnot. Now, after that, Steffy shows up, and she shows up with a peace offering. She's got, half a dozen cupcakes, and she brings them to Caroline. And they're an apology for really giving her a hard time when she found out that Caroline was with Ridge. And Caroline does one better, and she asks her if she would join them for dinner. They're having Chinese. And Steffy likes that. And we see actually, a thawing with the two of them, which is nice. And then Caroline, after Steffy tells them that she's been talking to Wyatt, Caroline jumps in with, guess what? Well, Ivy's not going anywhere anytime soon. So you hear that reoccurring theme again, and but it looks like they're having a nice time. The other thing we see is when Wyatt goes to see Quinn. And I mean, this is always comical when you have Quinn in the room. She's just that kind of a person. And she tells him that Ivy and Liam are getting married tonight. Now, obviously, Wyatt is thrown by this, and he wants to know what's going on. And she tells him that Ivy's getting deported and that she has to get married to stay in the country. Now, Wyatt doesn't actually think this is a bad idea. And Quinn says she's happy because it clears the way, obviously, for Wyatt and Steffy. But Wyatt says one thing that lets you know that there's going to be a little bit of trouble. He says, you're not going to do this again, are you? And obviously he's referring to all the stuff that happened with Hope. So it'll be really interesting to see how this plays out. Now, the last thing we see is Ivy, and she's pleading with Liam, who Liam is the eternal, and I think everyone agrees, is the deer in the headlights. He's like, he's a flag, whichever way the wind is blowing and this guy's going. So she's pleading with him to marry her, and she says it's not a real marriage and she won't have to move in. She'll just have to bring in a few things to make it look like she's living there. Now, Liam says if they get married, it's a limited partnership with a specific purpose. Who the hell says that? Even if it's for a fake marriage. I mean, I was waiting for this guy to pull out a contract or something. He is so wishy-washy. But they're still dating. He wanted that to be known. And obviously this guy's looking to make sure that he has his option. And he says, oh, it was only a limited partnership, so I can exit it. So Carter shows up, and he tells him that Quinn sent him there. Now, obviously, the first thing that goes off is red flags for Liam. And Liam has this pained look on his face. And Ivy explains that, Quinn was around when the INS guy showed up, and that's how she knows. Carter does give Liam one last out, and he asks him if he's sure he wants to do this, and he fumbles through that part too, basically saying, it's an obligation, it's not a real, you get the point. You've seen Liam fumble, and he does a great job of that. And then Ivy appears in the dress, And they obviously agree that this is for immigration purposes and it will end as soon as she's out of danger. And Liam looks at her and says, let's get married. And that's what we have for this episode. So an interesting episode. It's going to hit the fan when Steffy finds out. But I want to thank you for checking out B&B Talk. Don't forget, follow us on all the social media. And have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon.